Welcome back to the Atlanta Major, Virtus.Pro versus NIP. That's adorable. It's a delightful matchup of two dynasties. That's for your bingo card, fresh. But our teams, as you can see, are settling into their positions. And man, really excited for this one. NIP, SI 2021 defending champions. Kind of been a roller coaster ride since then for them, but loving the thumbs up there. And then for Virtus.Pro, our fearsome fraggers, want to bring you both into the conversation here. I'm with Jesse and Gabe. Man, Virtus.Pro, also a legacy team. Really excited to see them go head to head. Two teams, their institutions in siege. So, you know what? Let's just dive right in, get to the nitty gritty, and we'll put NIP in the hot seat first.
Yeah, well, Jackie, these two teams, they've actually got quite a bit of history going back. They actually played each other the first day of Swiss at the last major in Copenhagen, the very first round. Virtus.Pro won that game, obviously. Big 7-4 victory for them. So I think this is not only two big teams who want to obviously get their first win of the day, but also some revenge factor coming through from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
I think it's going to be a little bit of a counterfest, if I do say so myself. Some teams want a revenge. Some teams want to keep that head-to-head alive and saying that they're better than the other team. So I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be a little bit of back and forth and seeing who's doing each other's homework better than the other.
I also want to talk about NIP in groups. Your eyebrows just went up, Jesse. I mean, we were saying a roller coaster ride. I mean, that was certainly a scary one.
Yeah, way too scary for what it should have been, right? NIP were the clear favorites in Group A. They looked very, very dominant. They were up against all kind of APAC and Mana teams, and then they lose to Geeke, and then they have to go through the lower bracket. They do come out on top. They make it out of here, but that was an extremely scary final game against Crest. NIP are typically coming into tournaments as big dogs, right?
Yeah.
Team that we at least expect to be pushing for top 8. Maybe in the conversation for top 4. For them to have almost gone out just in the play-ins, I think is really, really worrying for where they might end up at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, and even touch on their placings. The second stage, they got first, then they got third, then at the Gamers 8, they got 5th through 6th, then at the Copenhagen, they got 5th through 6th again, or wait, was it 5th through 8th? 5th through 8th, sorry, 5th through 8th. And then to come here, go 7-8, lose that, come back, they get a nice 2-0 over Sandbox, but then like you were saying, that 2-1 versus Crest, that could have been an either way sort of situation, and we could have been seeing Crest over here. So it's just a matter of like, are they really adapting and fixing the mistakes that they need to, because they're going to need to do that going into this VP match, a team that they need to get the revenge on.
I want to talk about Psycho, Muzi, and Pino. This is a powerful trio. Laxine, you're very familiar with this trio. Talk to me about them a little more.
Yeah, well, playing these guys throughout my career, it's always been a very intense game.
Okay.
They're very strong players. Having a core 3 in any roster, even back in my days with Skies and Fox, just having that core on your roster is so integral to a team's success, because when you bring in those 2 new players, you can really allow yourself to learn something new and then also teach those new players to be world-class players, let them slot into positions, and again, also help you grow as a player and ultimately making that team get elevated. And we want to see NIP at that former World Championship form, but I still think they have a couple hurdles that they really need to get over.
Yeah, this team undoubtedly has some big legends on the roster, but they've also got some new guys who I think have been really slotting in quite well. I think Cons has been the most consistent player for NIP throughout these play-ins so far. I think through NIP, everybody kind of had games where maybe, Psycho would pop off, or we'd see Muzi go crazy, but then they'd also have games where they're a little bit quiet. Maybe they're just not hitting those shots, they're not in the right positions. Cons, to me, felt like every single round he was in the right spot, he was trading his teammates, he was always doing the right thing. It wasn't enough to make the group stage easy for NIP, right? It's a one-man operation here. If everybody else is still having struggling moments, they're going to be having some tough results. But all in all, I was really impressed with Cons for being such a young new player coming into the team. I think he's really shown some impressive stuff for us.
But will it be enough, Jesse?
Against Virtus.Pro, I mean, it almost wasn't enough against Crest.
Okay.
Everyone has to come here and show up. They can't just be put on Cons back. It just can't be put on Muzi, Psycho, Pino, any of those guys' backs. Everyone has to be going through this tournament, turning up when they need to. And that's the whole point of playing on a 5-man roster, is if someone is having a bad day, you got 4 other people to back you up. And like you were saying, talking about Cons, being a new player, it is good to have that trust in a new player that they can still perform above and beyond, even through the legends on the roster.
Gentlemen, I believe we're ready to move into map bans. Working to bring that information up on your screen now. Okay, Jesse.
All right, we go to a Kafe, a bit of a standard map coming through here. I was a little bit interested to see what we might go for. I wasn't predicting a Kafe, that's for sure. The The problem is for VP, they're 2 tries in stage 1 way back. We're against BDS G2. This stage, they beat BDS, but it was an 8-6. It's not a map that they dominate on. It's not a map that they felt super strong on in the past. So a little bit surprised to see it coming on out. But for NIP, I mean, Kafe, this is their comfort map. They always love to come here. 10 plays this season, 9 of them wins. They're very comfortable here. They've got a lot of VODs out as well, but I'm sure VP have been studying those.
Yeah, and it's a question of you getting your favorite map that you're very comfortable with. Are you going to give up map control to VP? Is VP going to do their homework and figure out the little spots that you are not playing maybe to the best ability and capitalizing on that? It's really going to come down to who's giving up. It's like I was talking about even in the NAL. It's certain maps, it requires certain map position, and the second you give that up, you're going to almost be forfeiting a lot of those rounds. So if NIP going to this map that they're extremely comfortable on, I don't want to see them be giving up space that they don't need to give up.
And I'm going to be looking at the defenses from NIP in particular here, because I think we saw some really cool ideas coming through from them in just the group stage, right? We saw them on Bank have some really cool ideas with kind of mirror windows coming out, castle setups, some really intricate setups. And that's what NIP like to do, right? They like to set up these kind of big, elaborate defenses. Not quite like perfect defenses. That's the style of Siege VP tend to play as like perfect, right? No gaps, no mistakes. They just built a brick wall that you won't be able to exploit by finding a weakness. NIPs may have weaknesses, but they're also just going to make you think. They're going to make a really difficult challenge for you to try to solve. And so if they're bringing some stuff that VP have been able to VOD review from maps and maps and maps on footage, then VP are going to come in with a good solution to these problems. That said, if we're seeing finally a new Kafe come out from NIP, this could present a whole new set of problems that VP maybe aren't so ready for, and they could struggle with that.
And to touch up on what you were saying of just like making those adjustments or making you think, the beauty about Siege is it's the strats are there. They're there to, you know, facilitate how the round's going to play out, but just swapping an operator, swapping 2 people, that plays a mental game on the IGL of the attacking side, because you have this process of, all right, we're going to clear Muzi here. We're going to clear Pino there. It's going to go like this. Now Pino's over here, or Muzi's over here, or Psycho's playing here. And then that has to then be redirected back to an IGL and say, okay, they aren't playing this the same position. And it's just as simple as that you have to be able to fix that.
Okay, really quickly, predictions.
You got to go VP on this one.
Yeah, agreed. I'm assuming.
I'm gonna go NIP.
No, you're not.
You keep picking these spicy.
Okay.
You know, I got. Come on, I got to have a little fun here. I just don't want to pick, you know, what Jesse's
Okay.
picking.
There's been a lot of upsets today.
There has.
Yeah,
there has
you're
been a
right.
lot of upsets. That's
It's
for
Siege,
sure. So we
you
got to
never
go
know,
against that.
right? Very true. All right, well, let's send it over to Dez and Ace, who are looking fabulous and floral. Hi. No more mean short king jokes.
No more mean short king jokes, Jackie. Just shirt comments. Appreciated. Game Team, it's coming up. It's going to be an exciting one as well. NIP, as we know, play-ins, not the easiest journey for them. VP, yet to show what they're really made of. But this is a team that I think over the last year or so, with the changes they've made, have just gone from strength to strength to strength. And I think, even amongst talent, there were a couple of us that thought VP could go on to win this whole thing. So it could be really interesting. We're getting into it right now. Game's about to get underway. Productions, spin that stuff up. Let's get this map underway. It's Kafe between NIP and Virtus.Pro.
I've seen some good cafes from NIP over the years. I'm talking maybe the last 2 or 3 years, thinking of NIP as a team. Also thinking about their performances inside of majors. One of the biggest strengths I've often said in tournaments for NIP is hitting form at the right time. The question is, can they get to that right time? You know, which of course is always the last few days of the tournament. And it seems when NIP do get to that sort of quarter-final position, they almost become unstoppable sometimes, but it's just whether they can get through those wobbly early stages that they often have, and they find themselves in that position again, run to the distance by Crest, beaten by GK. It was a battle for them to get out of phase 1.
GK just beaten W7.
Well, it
whoever
puts a slightly different light on it. It does put a slightly different light on it, but still, NIP looking a little bit shaky in phase 1 at times, and this first performance of phase 2, again, I still think, you know, for a lot of teams, I often speak about this, Des, and that hitting form at the right time inside a tournament is absolutely huge. And so coming out and, you know, the teams that we've seen today have amazing performances. For them to continue to do that for every single game until they've won the tournament from here till, you know, next weekend is... So it's a little bit unlikely. You know, these teams are likely to have a stumble, so you're better off having it now than later on. So I don't know. We'll see with NIP whether they're going to show us their best, whether it's going to be a bit of a wobble, and we'll see what we get out of Virtus.Pro, of course. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing Virtus.Pro.
I'm excited to see this last ban as well. Are we going to see something spicy, bit of a funky ban? No, we're not. Really, the Sledgehammer, the only one that stands out there as being a bit different. A target ban coming in against NIP, who are very comfortable playing with that operator. I believe it's always who normally steps across on it. But that being taken away, we'll lock a couple of nades away, which could suggest a very utility-heavy style defense coming out from NIP in this first half. You're already seeing the Wamai coming along, for example. You've got the Castle on side as well, and Rooney. Again, just everything screams it's about denying them away with as much utility as possible and making the other side sweat. So you might see a bit of Flores coming out. You might see other nade-based operators joining in. Habana, for example, might help out here. We'll see what VP choose to go with, though. We're straight into this first round, though, Tim. I believe it's on Reading and Fireplace.
Yeah, I think we're going to be going into the
and if I'm right,
mid-floor.
That is the only map that hasn't been the only site that hasn't been played so far at the major. So Fresh gets another bingo card.
Another bingo card tick. Is that absolutely everything played now?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. It surprises me a little bit that Reading is the last one to be picked out. I know we haven't had a lot of Kafe, but. Yeah, Reading.
Well, we've had a real swing over towards a lot of mining being played over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just love Reading as a site. I think generally, I don't know what the stats say off the top of my head at the minute over the last couple of months, but you know, historically speaking, I think it's always been a very solid site, and it's one that I quite like. But we'll see. We'll see how NIP do with it. They're going to be defending the top floor as we would expect. We've got Wizard on the mirror, which is going to be playing in towards your sort of bar area, I would imagine. From the cigar, he's got one inside of the washroom as well. Yeah, both exactly where I would have expected. So one playing in towards piano, one playing in towards bar. It's going to make it very difficult for Virtus.Pro to get across the top.
Yeah, looks an awful lot like if you've seen too much Kafe before. It's an awful lot like if you were defending this top floor as a site in general. Lots of commitment upstairs in terms of we've got mute jammers up there. We've got, of course, the mirrors coming in, reinforcements on wall to support those. Really trying to waste as much time as they can by forcing VP in towards attacking through this top floor. Castle Barricade, for example, coming in between Cigar and in between Piano. So anything they can do to slow Virtus.Pro down, to overwhelm them with this utility that we spoke about during the operator banning phase, really to me, again, seems to be the game plan coming in for NIP.
Not much getting seen on that drone. Just, I think, finding itself in behind a little box or something that always couldn't wriggle away from. So a little shake of the drone's head before he moves off it and on to the next part of his game plan. Joystick is already established inside of Cigar. Going to be sending out the Rotero drone on the Flores just to try and clear out a little bit of utility, but also, I think, just provide a bit of information as well as to where those players are located. Musi is just going to get forced back out of the bathroom a little bit.
That's C4 from below, mining, I think.
Yeah, Pasha just needs to be a little bit careful there. There are peaks coming across from Pino on this side. The mirror window is going to be dealt with, which is surely going to force Pino a little bit deeper, but I tell you what, I said Pasha needed to be careful, and Pino shows him exactly why.
Oh, and he's got a second couple as well coming in there. Stands the second onto Joystick as he steps forward. Beautiful stuff, and just holding here inside a cocktail, and VP is stepping up one by one, looking to try and take the firefight and being punished for it. And by the time there's anyone trying to react to the pushing towar's Nubalk, well, he's long gone. Can we still call it Nubalk, by the way? It has been around
pretty old
so long.
now, isn't it?
It is a bit old.
It's not really new anymore, but there's probably quite a lot of players who've started playing Siege after that, you know, before they don't even know that didn't used to exist. They're probably like, what's so new about it? It's always been there. We've got a nice little angle from Wizard there, actually, just into barback storage. He's just going to dip away at the wrong time. Might have actually been able to catch somebody had he stayed watching, but for the time being, he's trying to prevent the push coming down. Shepard does manage to pick up one. Psycho's there for Dan, though, 4 versus 2. Psycho's just trying to move his way around. Beautiful onto Shepard, easy as that, and it all comes down to always.
15 seconds remaining.
Always, always. Just unfortunately, no time left to make anything happen here with 4 players to go through and a plan to get down. This round is cooked. Nothing to come off the back of that one. A great first round from NIP. And as I mentioned, that very heavy utility setup, just a little bit oppressive. It was forcing out a lot of 1v1s. This bottleneck push coming in through the Cigar doorway because they couldn't work their way through Piano. That mirror window that was sat inside a bathroom, mute jammed off. It didn't matter that a Rotero went in there to try and clear it out. It got blocked off by the jammer and they realized they simply were not getting through from there. Adaptation to make there might have been to put someone on white window and force pressure in towards bathroom, which would have opened up a white push where you can then pincer. But fundamentally, VP just didn't get away with that, and NIP a very, very comfortable first round win.
Yep, NIP looking pretty good in that round. They're going to take us to the top floor for this round. It's going to be bar and cocktail. We've just got a little bit of gamesmanship with the Dreadmine there as to exactly where Wizard's going to place it. He picks it up off the ground, sends it up underneath the hatch instead. Obviously more difficult to destroy from there, more difficult to spot out. But behind the little cardboard box on the floor can be a tricky little spot as well. Thank you very much. Just in that spot there. Quite often you get a little... it doesn't work at this sort of level, but in ranked, I'd just try chucking a Razor Bloom behind that box and thank me later.
Thank you later, Tim. I'm sure they will. Here we go, though. I think this time around, again, looking at the comp coming out from NIP, it is, again, very, very heavily stacked behind all of this utility. When you got the Castle, the Mute, Mozzie, Fenrir even slowed them down. There were Mai to catch any throwables, like the nades. One thing that kind of I'm looking at here and thinking of a VP, is this an overinvestment? 6 Claymores, Tim.
6 Claymores, when it's a top floor defense, you know, you're not likely to get that many runouts. You maybe, it depends if you want to play the east windows, that's 2, because you want to cover that off. I guess if you're wanting to play on the piano windows, you might want to do the bottom 2 sort of out of mining and red stairs, so that's 4, white stairs 5. There's a bit of paranoia playing into 6 Claymores, but I guess on Kafe I can see where they get eaten up quickly.
Yeah, there's loads of places you can put them, I agree, but I'm more concerned about the lack of throwables here. 3 flashes, you know, you got the impacts on sides. Sure, you got concussives and impacts coming out from Joystick as well on the Zofia, so they probably can burn through what they need to, but again, magnets, you've got the castle barricades to work your way through, you've got the jammers everywhere too. There's a lot working against them, and this is why right now NIP is still really hard pressed up around piano, up around bathroom, and don't feel very threatened. Yeah,
I think the Claymores have pretty much gone down where I've said, but yeah, I don't think NIP are really shaping up for that sort of aggression at the minute anyway. But Pino is going to get picked up by a nade, so that levels us up at 4 versus 4 halfway through the round. Kafe attack, generally we would expect a team to be coming away with rounds, so Virtus.Pro, I'm sure, going to be looking for a 3-3 at least. Having lost the first one, they can't leave it too long before they start finding themselves some round. Cons is just trying to move back up, cautious of that east stairs rappel on window. There's nobody there at the moment, but that side of the building is being utilised at the minute. Virtus.Pro certainly putting the squeeze on NIP, attacking from all sides.
Yeah, and there's the jump out coming on in, and there's the Claymore coming in, but not before Wizard gets the kill. And it brings it to a 3 versus 3.
It's not a bad trade, that, to be honest.
The more you're taking away from the attackers, I think here it is just so valuable, because you're running down things like potentially the impacts coming out from Zofia, the Bs coming out from Shepard, you name it. Always, though, with the longer angle, taking down Psycho. Only 2 left for NIP here. It feels doable, Tim.
It does. And VP are just walking in and taking fights at the minute. Going to be shut down there. Joystick really needed to win that because it gives him that 2v2. The flashbang is going to catch him the second time around, but Muzi steps out. A freezer finds Pasha and puts him down. 2 versus 1 now. It's always once again having to get this done. 30 seconds. He's got plenty of time. I think he knows roughly where the players are, but also the information is going to be fed in as he destroys that bulletproof camera. What a beautiful shot through onto Muzi. 1 versus 1 though. And Cons, he can play a cute little cautious game here for the last 10 seconds.
Just sit Harrow Lumber very happily, and I think he has the idea, always knows as well. He's gone for the spot, but Cons just a little bit too quick for him. Does get that shut down, and always 3K, not enough to give VP their first round.
No, I think always just didn't have the right operator for the job there. You know, a little bit noisy coming across, and I think Cons hears him well before he gets to that rotator, is able to pre-fire and take the headshot, get the round closed out. NIP looking good there. Virtus.Pro certainly closer than they were in round 1. They got themselves more into the game there, but still coming down to that clutch situation for Always, which he wasn't able to finish off.
Yeah, got to find their way back into this one. Again, maybe another round or 2, and you'll see that timeout coming in that we've gotten very used to seeing, not just today, but really throughout all of history, is when teams do find themselves down 3 rounds on the trot. Clearly something isn't working, and it needs to be rectified before you repeat those same 3 sites. NIP, though, as much as we came in saying, look, a bit of a rough play-ins, you know, it takes time to warm into a tournament, playing well here in this first game.
Going to be mining this time around for our 3rd choice site from NIP. Going very well so far. Castle up on the top floor. I'm just going to suggest that they're going to play this quite aggressively across the top floor, as you'd expect, because the site is over on that side of the map. So they can't just hold themselves to an east-sided defence. They'd probably give up piano, I'd have thought, if they've castled that off. Not give it up so much, but sort of allow access to it, and they're going to play it from bar, back storage and cigar instead, and just prevent the top being taken like that.
Much happy with this, by the way. I spoke about about this earlier on with the Havana being an option here to deal with the massive amounts of utility being brought along by NIP. This round, they've doubled down even further and gone for 2 shields in Warden and Frost. Again, more frustration. But on the other side, we've got more flashes, 9s in total. We've got no frag grenades. We don't care about that. We don't need, for example, an absolute ton of claymores for this round. And I think the Havana will be really helpful at getting rid of things like those castles quite safely at long range. And will just make life a bit easier for Virtus.Pro to move through the map. So good changes. We'll see, obviously, if it nets them any kind of results.
Scratch that, NRP are playing a little bit more aggressively into Piano than I might have expected. I thought with the Cigar being castled off, they might just sort of try to play from far back storage behind the shield that they had. But Moosey's actually got a shield on Pixel spot as well, so he's aggressing up into there. Pasha does manage to take down Cons, so that's a good start for Virtus.Pro this time, getting the entry. They're able to take out a bit more utility as well. They're actually getting some good control here. They've pushed their way into Piano. They've got the wall open at the top of red. They've managed to get that opening kill. They've opened the door into mining, so pretty quick progress so far.
Yeah, looking much better, and I think the pinch onto Cons was great. The flash came in immediately, the call was for them to push in, get the man, remove him off the field entirely. Shields now being taken away as well. I mentioned again this change in comp coming out from the attacking side is good. The Pasha has been taken down here. That Piano battle is going to be such a big one. We're halfway through the round at this point, so it's still a key contestation point for the entire map. But VP have got to find an opening of some kind, and they're not even checking inside a Cigar. 2 easy kills coming in for NIP. A 4v2 feels like another round going their way, Tim.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro just a little bit short of the pace here. It is their first game in Atlanta, so you just wonder. You know, we've had this discussion all day of Laxing said it himself. You know, sometimes for the teams, for the players, getting the reps in, playing the games is the important thing, and NIP maybe just showing exactly why that is. Virtus.Pro starting off a little bit cold to begin with. Certainly not up to speed in terms of flashing themselves.
Well, they just stands there and just takes it like, I know.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try and run away from this one. I'm just going to let the time run down.
Here we go. Must know there's one towards his right-hand side pretty close. Got the Grim coming in as well. Then B's doing some work. I think Cons is tucked into exactly the same space that he was last time. In fact, it was Pino this time round. Gets his man for free. Shepard, unfortunately, going to be a little bit out of luck in this round. I think it's another very dominant show from NIP. 4 players left standing. Again, VP, I think, need that time out here because what they've done so far, although the ideas were good in this round with the Flores and the Havana, it's not getting them the results they need.
It's not at all. NIP starting off really well. Full defensive rotation, 3-0 now. They've got a choice. They could go to Kitchen. They haven't used it yet. Or they could just start over again, back to Reading, and continue on around. We'll see exactly which they choose to do. But Virtus.Pro deep in conversation at the minute. Tack time out.
Yeah. Understandably, again, you need it after going down 3 rounds. You've lost 3 different sites. You know there's a very good chance you're about to play all those same 3 sites again. So even if it's just a conversation about those 3 sites, okay, look, what are we doing about this site? What are we doing about that site? What has gone wrong across those rounds? Obviously, the coach might have some kind of observation as well and be able to offer some thoughts of their own. But a little bit, it feels like of exasperation coming out of some of the players.
I think, yeah, you could be right. Obviously, you know, not going to be exactly up to the standard that they would be expecting from themselves, that they'd be hoping for, I'm sure, coming in and 3-0 down inside their first game. As I said, over the years, I've seen some good cafes out of NIP. You know, it's a team that definitely know how to play. I know there's been a few roster changes across the way over the last year or 2 for them, but, you know, the core is still there. Muzi, Psycho, Pino, and they've, as I say, I've seen them play particularly in the home region back in Brazil, but internationally as well, and have some good results here. So they're certainly no strangers to the map, and they're proving that.
Just very comfortable for them is the only way I could summarise it. And VP, dare I say, looking a bit toothless at points. Again, with the right sort of idea in terms of the comp they brought along, but the actual execution just not going their way.
Not winning the gunfights.
Nope. And then we're back into Reading and Fireplace again. So similar sort of style. Small difference here immediately in terms of where the mirror window is being placed. Last time around, I believe it was on the right-hand wall. This time it's on the left one. Expect we'll see another one placed on the lumber wall, on the cocktail wall looking out across bar as we've seen previously. Again, the thing that caught them out last time round, Virtus.Pro this is having mute jammers placed on the mirror window inside a bathroom. When that was there, they just had no way of forcing the player out from behind it, so forced themselves into a bottleneck of pushing in towards bar, which made it all too easy for Pino to line up 1, 2, 3 kills and really nullify that round entirely. So we've got to see a little bit more from Virtus.Pro here, another angle to attack from, a little bit of spice, doing something maybe that NIP don't expect. Otherwise, this will be 4-0.
As you say, Virtus.Pro definitely needs to be doing something differently. Just going to be opening up those castle barricades once again, looking to pressure the top floor. Last time around, they never really got themselves established up there. That's one difference. Like
I said, pressure bathroom from White Window. They missed that last time.
Get everybody cleared out. Get everybody cleared out. You know, get yourself feet on the ground. Get in there. Use your book. Get the lines opened up, and you know, make it onto step 2, step 3. Get yourself in a position to execute onto site, whereas that's something NIP have actually done really well at. If you think of Virtus.Pro, how many times have they realistically been in sight? How many times have they had any sort of control where you've even had a thought of, oh, maybe they could plant here? You know, not once yet, realistically, has that been an option.
I think it's quite cute, actually, thinking about it. NIP probably read that they would get a VP attack coming in from White Window, so by putting the mirror on the left, I don't think, but you can see that from the window, the right-hand one you can, so it tucks it away and keeps it safe. Obviously, he's now got to be very mindful of what's going on at White at the same time, but they've also got players like Con sitting downstairs, C4 at the C4 was at the ready, Wizard with it ready here as well to help out on towards the window, just adapting to what they expect to see coming out of VP. So great reading of the game from NIP.
I'll tell you what, given the opportunity, Wizard's going to hit this Nitro. You can just see it coming as soon as they get aggressive onto that window. It's an absolute beauty of a throw. You just toss it up through the hatch, out through the window, and see what you can catch. He's just waiting for that information. Pasha has managed to make it all the way down to Lumber, though. He's going to be pushing on into Cocktail, and if they don't know, they're going to be in big trouble. Pino does manage to find Joystick, but that's going to be traded out. And the pressure comes into Freezer, and Pasha gets his kill. 4 versus 3. This is much better from Virtus.Pro. They've got the vertical control that I was talking about. Now, get your book in there, where is always. Start opening things up.
Jeff is just waiting for the windows as well, just daring anyone to make a move. Another great kill onto Wizard, though. This one's looking much, much better. I'm just nervous because I know that it's Con still standing, and he is one hell of a player when given the right opportunity. Same story for Muzi.
Yes, both players that you know are going to win gunfights if they get even a sniff of it. But look at this work that Always is doing. I said I wanted to see the book get in there. I wanted to see vertical angles. He's already found a kill onto Wizard, and he's looking for more. He just keeps opening up more and more angles, and you can see exactly the effect that it's having. NIP just cannot possibly play inside of sight now. They know that there is no safe space. Cons has had to dip his way out to the bottom of White Stairs. Pasha's in. Pasha's planting. That's going to get held. Music. Somehow he's looking to retake the vertical, but he's still got Always to deal with.
It's a lot of pressure coming in from above as well, so I was glad to say the right plan would be to rotate away or drop down, but he's rotated away into storage and taken that gunfight. Cons with it all to do. Shepard peeped his head above the parapet and gets the kill. Finally, Pasha, I think, really trying to gas his team up with that one. But they are finally on the board, Tim, and that's what counts most.
It is. That's going to get things rolling for them. You know, we quite often see this from teams that it just takes them a couple of rounds to get going. The next round or two, round 5, round 6, is going to give us a good idea whether that was the case for Virtus.Pro or whether NIP are just able to go back to business as usual and win the next 2. They're going to be moving sites. They're going to be heading down to the bottom floor this time. It's going to be all the way down to kitchen for NIP, so deciding they're going to mix things up.
Love it. I think it's good when you know that a team's starting to get comfortable and they've figured out reading. Fair chance they may have a crack at mining as well and figure it out. So just throw a site they haven't seen at all yet in the form of kitchen at them and just see how they respond. And some of those sites that I love because it forces really a full map clear if the defenders want to play across the entire map. And given that we see Muzi, for example, currently on our other screen, sat on that first floor getting some work done, chances are VP will have to full drone out the entirety of the top floor. He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
I think it's probably about right. You just need a bit of energy at that point. You've lost your first 3 rounds, you pick one up. It's sort of like saying, right, you know, come on boys, we're here, we're at the Atlanta Major. You know, we've got to show up and play our best here, and that's not what Virtus.Pro were giving us. But much better in that last round. As I said, it was essential that they went in and actually got that control of top floor. You know, step 1 complete, step 2, start working on those angles and utility. Step 3, get your plant down, and they were able to complete all of them. So much better than Virtus.Pro.
I mean, tell me, Tim, if you ever want to see a comp that screams, we want to play vertical, find me one that is any better than Virtus.Pro's right now. The gridlock on the Nomad for the flank watch. The Ram, we don't know exactly what Ram's for. The Buck for exactly the same purpose, and the Capitao to get some smoke and fire burning on through. Like, they need vertical control here. NIP, as we saw at the very start of the round, all 5 players are dug back onto the ground floor. They've extended out laterally in towards VIP, so they want to hold the ground floor with the Clash also playing inside a bakery. So really, second floor is, well, first floor in this case. Americanisms always get me. Completely a free take here for Virtus.Pro. They need to realise that pretty quickly, though, and get to work on those verticals sooner rather than later.
I love the use of the Yokai drone like that, just sending it out of the door, popping it up in the air and just seeing who's on rappel, who's what where. It does actually get taken out though, so that's going to be quite a big loss of utility. Out go the little ram gadgets. They're going to be opening up an awful lot of glory, and what a time saver that is, Des. I mean, we usually look for 1 minute 30 to start opening up. We're at 1 minute 40 and everything is open because the ram just makes it so easy to chuck those out, let them go, and you just get some serious amount of verticality from it.
Yeah, some great angles, but now you need to be able to capitalise off that. Chances are, with this side being as exposed as it is, I'd expect them to try and look in towards maybe Bakery and Red Stairs. Although that said, they've blocked the whole thing off as well. There's Barb to work your way through, and everything is stacked out towards the east side. So actually, I stick by that. As long as you can deal with the Echo that's playing inside a Bakery, it's the right way to go. Whether or not VP realise that or not, and play heavily into the stack that's now on the east side of the ground floor, that remains to be seen, and it does look like they are trying to work their way quite aggressively and quite quickly in towards this fireplace hatch.
Shepard's just waiting for his moment here. There goes the impact EMP, unsuccessfully. Going to have to try and open it up from the side. Needs to get it as close as he can to the hatch. We'll see whether that does the job. I would expect so. If it just
Nope.
But it might. No,
Oh dear.
I was going to say it may give an opportunity to see through the electrical, but it's not going to matter because there's no second hard breach guard.
Nope.
So Virtus.Pro just coming across a real stumbling block there. It's now on to plan B.
They've got to walk in and try and make this one work. Wizards already dug in deep for one, tries to go for the second. It's Dan to get that trade back on the other way, but still NIP absolutely marching forward in these entry battles. Dan charges on forward, sure, Pasha hits the deck. However, has been saved by Dan in this position. That's going to make it a 3 versus 4 once Pasha is back on his feet. With 15 seconds to play, I'll be panicking, Tim. There's an Echo and a Clash on side.
Yeah, it's a big gamble taking that time to pick Pasha up. I don't think, it's necessarily a bad idea, but with 10 seconds, it now leaves you with 7 cons. He just keeps fighting, drops the diffuser as well. 1 second left to go. There's no way Virtus.Pro do this. It's going to be close out. NIP managed to take round 5, and that leaves them 4-1 now, and they are cruising towards another quick victory. We've had a day of them so far today, and NIP might just be joining the party at 1-0.
Oh dear, oh dear. That round went a lot better for VP than previous ones have gone, to be fair. Really off the back of that.
The hatch really hurt them.
It did, and yeah, these are the things that will sting you as well. No drones coming on through to figure out exactly what's going on in there. Where is it placed? And this is the risk I think some teams run into by not bringing along a Thatcher and instead going for the micro EMPs, is unless you know where those electric claws are, they are going to sting you and you are going to pay the price for it. Really, more hard breach gadgets there would have been good, or more EMPs. This time round, at least in round 6, we have got the Thatcher coming along because they've said, yep, we understand, we need to bring the Thatcher.
Yeah, it just goes to show. We saw the impact EMP hit if you imagine you're looking at that hatch from the doorway of dining, it hits the front right corner. The electrical was just offset from the front left corner, but that distance is sufficient to mean that you just don't clear it off. So I think probably more luck than management on NIP's part. They've put it there, I think, to probably try and close off, get a bit of electricity onto the freezer wall at the same time. You can get both if you get it in the right sort of spot. But yeah, ultimately, it just did the job, and Virtus.Pro didn't really have a plan B. It was, we get the hatch or we push straight down into Wizard, and that didn't really work out too well for them.
Really starting to see the very understandable frustration on Dan's face now between these rounds, looking around a bit like, what else do you want me to do, guys? I've walked to 3K. Yeah, we just can't get ourselves inside of sight, but that's what happens when the clock runs so low, and it was great work again by NIP to sort of force VP to have to work their way through the entirety of the map, first droning out the top floor, getting all the soft flooring opened up on that second or on the first floor, and from there, really running out of time due to that hatch not being opened up. However, I think it would have been a death drop regardless, because we had Wizard on the Warden sat behind the shield in VIP, just waiting for anyone to drop down through an open fireplace hatch into an early grave. They really like reading, by the way. It's the 3rd time
they do.
there now.
I like reading. I'm glad that they're going to reading it.
I did it just for you, Tim.
Last time around, Virtus.Pro were able to get the plant down. Pasha was able to drop inside the site and get that one on the ground. So something that NIP need to work on, make sure that's not happening again. They had, the first time that they played this back in round 1, Pino had a great kill from the length of the bar. He's just playing inside a cigar. He's on the same mirror window again. And he's inside a cocktail playing towards cigar. And he just really made it a nightmare for Virtus.Pro to play in and around that area. He's in that same position again, so we'll see if he has the same success. Now we see why they bring in so many claymores. Pulling them up on
doubling them up, mate, that's it. I mean, Gruber's going to see everything here as well, and sure enough, Shepard's suspicions were correct, and Psycho is too easy up and taken always for free. that's the kind of thing, really, that should be getting caught by a drone. However, they're down to just 4 drones still. 2 of those in back pockets.
Yeah, it's never going to make it easy on a map like Kafe. Dan manages to take down Psycho inside of Freezer, and Virtus.Pro have got top floor control by the looks of things. Joystick's going to take a lot of damage there. Joystick is going to be downed. We're going to have Claymore kill as well. But
oh dear.
I picked him up. I said Pino would be the problem. He was in Cocktail. He did well last time he played there. He did even better this time. Triple kill for him, and he was the one that prevented Virtus.Pro getting comfortable on that top floor. Well played, Pino, and well played, NIP. 5-1 half before they go on to the attack.
I remember a long time ago Virtus.Pro playing on this map. I forget who it was against, but we had 2 5-1 defensive halves. The only round that made a difference was WTG, old player for Virtus.Pro, bit of a throwback there, used to play Habana, and the only way they won a round was by him charging it towards Pixel, towards White Corridor, and just slapping the player behind shield. That was the only way they got anything out of that game. And really here, I think you might see a very much a game of 2 halves where it becomes down to defenders just ruling the roost. I'd love to see NIP carry on the momentum they've got here so far and close this out nice and easy. Put a real, put all the concerns, I think, from the play-ins to rest and say, you know what, GK, pretty hard team to play against. A loss there is understandable, and just show that actually they are here to play and that Virtus.Pro, it won't be the dream start for them in Atlanta they'd hoped for.
Virtus.Pro are going to be kicking themselves. I think they had everything on top floor apart from that one spot that Pino was left stood in, and he just absolutely destroyed them without even moving his feet. Managed to pick up 3 kills. So NIP, they take the half. It's 5-1 as we come into the second half. Virtus.Pro move on to the defense. They're going to take Bar and Cocktail to begin with. NIP, let's see if you can get established in the map and push Virtus.Pro around a little bit better than they did to you.
They're pretty well set up inside of here as well. Mirror is deployed and ready, both facing in towards, well, one towards storage, one towards the piano from bathroom. It's just been the bar at least, but maybe feels slightly exposed, but I imagine they've got a bulletproof cam sat at the back of Cocktail, being able to watch everything. Now, here's a new one. Joystick is 0-6. It's been a rough game for him, but he is off on the roam on this Solus, and it's the right sort of idea. So there's a Bravo drone coming on in, which he'll take out for free. Thank you very much. Only get 2 of those, so quite a valuable bit of utility to take off the board.
Pino getting the track stingers down on the red stairs, just trying to prevent the flank. Of course, Gridlock seeing a lot more play since nades have been shifted into her arsenal. So she's then being used as the flank watch mostly. Also got the Nomad as well. That is particularly important if you're going to be playing those east windows, just going to prevent the jump outs there. Joystick just going to give him something to think about. Pasha manages to give him a little something more to think about as he finds the Nitro onto Cons. Joystick knows that there's one just outside of Snow Door as well, so Psycho needs to be careful, but the couple of pot shots that were taken by Joystick to begin with have given his presence away. Shepard, if you launch this at White Window, you might get a bit of joy, just a bit too far away, I think. We see the explosion below the Dockerby of Wizard, but it's not going to do the job. Joystick will, however, find Psycho in that long-running battle outside of Snow Door. It's going to be Virtus.Pro that come out on top. Quite
Terrifying to spin round in towards Piano from Zagara, just see 2 mirror windows staring at you from slightly different angles. Understandably not wanting to challenge in towards that, which means similar for VP, when they were on the attack, NIP are going to be forced to push in through Bar here, or try and work something else out with 2 of them on the ground floor. Feels like this is the game plan. Joystick just cannot find himself much in this game. 1-7 now. Sure, he's got his first in the round, but Pino is marching on 4s. Nade in hand. Timing was almost perfect. Always so close to charging straight into it.
Pino really showing us some of his best today. We know how lethal he can be when he gets running 8 and 4 at the minute and leading the way in terms of solo kills in this game. But at the minute for NIP, it might just not be enough, particularly inside of this round. 40 seconds left to go. 3 versus 4, and NIP don't really have any map control. They're in a very similar position to what we saw out of Virtus.Pro on the attack, really. They haven't been able to get in and put themselves in a position where they can start thinking about winning the round. Dan takes down Muzi, and it's all starting to fall apart, but it's that man again, Pino. He's going to have to find an ace if he wants to win this, and cannot, as Virtus.Pro shut him down, and they take their first defense.
Is it the suggestion of the start of that 2 halves to a game of Siege piece here, Tim?
It could
May well be. Them on the defense there look very, very solid, and like you said, I think NIP looked a little bit lost on the attack there. I had the right sort of ideas. I like they were trying to play in around the first floor, but just not enough threat on the upstairs itself. Pino, the only one really getting a kill in that round as well, does show that there is some work to do. But they've got a lot to play with here, Tim. Let's not forget. They're in a spot where, with them being 5-1 up or being 5-1 up coming out of the first half at the very least, it's going to be another 3 rounds until VP are anywhere near them.
We'll be heading on into round 8 very shortly. We've got the defenders of Virtus.Pro going down to the basement, I believe, as soon as we get on in there.
Yeah.
Which we will be doing any second, I'm sure. As you say, Virtus.Pro need that has to be the platform now. That has to be. I think they need another 2 rounds. I think they need to get this back to 5-4 realistically. They need to do that 3-0 half just like NIP did to them. We see that beautiful Nitro. It was one that I'd already spoken about from Pasha up through the laundry hatch and out onto the east window. It so often catches people out because you're just not prepped for it. You don't really hear it coming, and it's a difficult one to watch for.
Pasha clearly the team cheerleader at this point as well, Tim.
Pasha showing the passion.
That's it. Passion master. It's indeed be downstairs though. Into kitchen we go. No clash being brought along by Virtus.Pro, so not looking to have the same answer that NIP had back when they were defending on this side. But on the other side, you've got Cons bringing along the Ossa, Tim. Now, an operator that very much functions a similar sort of way. You're making use of the shields to gain ground, or same as Monty almost. Really looking forward to gain ground there, make a plant happen in behind the shield. Very commonly see this used to push just inside after dropping it through fireplace into freezer, round your way in towards site, and then plant down the shield right next to the bomb chassis and get the plant down behind it. But it does mean getting control of that east side of the ground floor. So that should be NIP's focus in this round, which means first and foremost, getting rid of Dan, sat inside of VIP behind the shield.
Yeah, it's always such a key position. You know, you can maybe put a little bit of pressure on from sort of VIP window, maybe get down there externally onto that double window, and it just gives Dan a lot less movement space. You could think about some of that utility you've got. There's no nades in hand, but potentially air jabs, things like that, use those. They're going to struggle to move the shield. That's going to be the problem. Dan's got that shield there, and there's nothing really that's going to be able to take that away from him. So Dan could well take root here and be very difficult to move.
Well, third, I think got 6 coming out then a second ago, which probably would have been best shape for that shield, to be honest. After chunking through it with a bunch of flashbangs coming out to drain away, there were mine magnets. However, they've got that fireplace hatch open, so they're still doing a lot of work around this side of the map, but like we said, really, that last step is going to be unseating Dan. I think it's proven pretty hard to unseat this game.
That's it. You sort of look at it and think maybe NIP might be better, you know, just going for bakery side and not really pushing in towards that side, because I just don't see how they're going to deal with it. But for the time being, they're still working on the vertical. Pino does his work, manages to find Pasha with a great opener. Pino just picking up where he left off, 10 and 5 now, absolutely flying for NIP here, really pushing them forward on the attack, and that leaves them with at least an advantage for the time being. The drop into freezer comes. Dan can't really do too much about this now. It might have just worked to sort of bypass him a little bit.
Let's just use that entirely as like a shepherd to get himself inside a sight here, Cons. Really got to see the other side react now, though, try and make something happen. Always has got the right idea. Challenge onto the vertical. Muzi finds Dan, though, and this is the kind of control that NIP needed, Tim. They're into a 5 versus 2, and really, Virtus.Pro have just given up far too much ground. NIP up to match point.
Chubb's getting vocal there, the coach of NIP. Plenty of noise coming from behind the team. Yeah, I think ultimately that was a great attack from NIP. I love that. The fact that they didn't dislodge Dan, but were still able to get into freezer, wander through and put the diffuser down. And it just shows the power of vertical cover on that side. They also was the only person inside. The rest of the cover was all coming from above, and there was just nothing that Virtus.Pro could do to actually get anywhere near that plant spot. It was really, really well done by them. So, yeah, absolutely beautiful stuff from NIP. That takes them to 6-2 now, and they are 1 round away from putting themselves into that 1-0 bracket for tomorrow.
Yeah, call it another unexpected scoreline, Tim, but that's what I love about this stage of the competition. It's still all up in the air. No real evidence to go off outside of the playing teams, and even then, again, for NIP, it was a pretty shaky start, but they're looking good here on Kafe. 4 rounds for Virtus.Pro to fight back in. It feels like a bit of a big ask here. NIP probably quite comfortably happy that they can close this in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, I think given how it's gone so far, it's going to be a long way back for Virtus.Pro. An interesting triple stack of cap can traps there. Not to say that they won't work. You've got some angles that you'd use. You'd come into freezer if you shoot out the floor, or destroy the floor in bar back storage. If you do get that vertical control, you might come into freezer to get the angle down in towards the double wall of library, in towards the bookcases that have fallen over in that corner. So it could well catch them out. It's just you're not going to get any sort of football as players move through the map. It's going to to have to be a very specific movement, a very specific action from NIP to get caught out with those Capcan traps. But I wouldn't put it past them.
I mean, the triple stack as well is purely because in the meta right now, you're going to see Gridlock all the time, so she was given frag grenades. Yeah, very slow operator, 3 armor, means she's got 130 HP. Each of those Capcan traps does 60 damage each. You need 3 to get her completely finished off. And that's what Dan's hoping he's going to catch. It's a Gridlock charging up the wrong way. But now the drone game coming on through. Yeah, the drone count, still quite a few alive as well, so lots of intel gathering capability here still for the side of NIP. For now, just making sure that they can get safely inside of red, look to clear across top floor, and then start worrying about site itself.
Look at this
Does he know?
coming in from NIP. Muzi just taking the pot shot towards Pixel, and he's going to find out why it's called Pixel if he's not careful. Does have a defender sat inside of there that's going to be watching that angle. Dan giving us a great demonstration of it there. Takes a shot at the drones. I'm not sure the drone actually saw him there as it buzzed straight across at sort of 90 degrees to him, but still.
No way.
Great. Second time they've been caught with that Nitro. Pasha, the one to throw it again, just really showing the strength of that arm he's got to put it out of the window. Perfect placement, and gets himself an opener. Will be down though, and Joystick is out as well.
Another C4 coming out from below as well. Just letting them push through that top floor and catching them out with C4s is wonderful stuff. Now, nothing else left in back pocket they can send skyward, but Dan can still find his man up above. Good stuff. It's been all about vertical denial this game, or this round, sorry, for Virtus.Pro, and it has worked wonderfully. Pino, Muzi, we've said this before, don't write these two off.
Oh, they're an absolute dynamic duo. There's no two ways about that. But just moving down that red stairs, need to be careful because there was one playing inside of mining as well, and footholds opened up in the wall, so could get caught out as they try to push through into the sort of double door area. But Pino, for the time being, going to continue. He's got the super short. Hey, there's
not again.
The triple.
And who did I say it was on for?
It will catch somebody who's trying to find a vertical angle, and that's why they run into Freezer, because they want to open a vertical and then look back on themselves towards this side of the map.
And why did we say the 3? Because in case a Gridlock runs over, and that's exactly what has happened, looking for those vertical nades to toss downwards. So really, Virtus.Pro haven't had to get involved in many firefights in this round. It's been about the C4s, it's been about the vertical denial, it's been about the Capcan traps. Wonderful stuff. Muzi looking in for one, but always with the closeout. VP, keep on fighting.
Dan proving as the Capcan there, he can just see the future as to where NIP are going to be moving into. It's just great game sense, it's great game knowledge, just a great prediction. You know, often with your Capcans, people will think about, you know, putting them in those high footfall areas. You know, where are people going to enter the building? Where are they going to move through? Where are they going to push in towards site? But it just goes to show sometimes even putting them in a dead end can get you the job done if you know that players are likely to move into that area. So well played from Dan.
Well, I think for me what it really shows is with the placement of those Capcan traps, they weren't expecting to hold the top floor, they were ready to give it up.
Yep.
And that's why you had the C4s coming, fishing 2 of them, and those triple stack of Capcan traps being placed. Just shows they were very ready to play around, giving over top floor to NIP, and well, forcing 3 kills without having to take a firefight. Wonderful stuff. Now we get to go into round 10. And Psycho, he is known as one of the Monty players around the world, Tim. And in this case, that's exactly what he's looking to deploy in round 10 for an attack on the top floor.
Yeah, I think that might be NIP sort of thinking, right, let's get this done now. You know, sending the Monty, working behind that, you know, ask questions of Virtus.Pro now. Okay, you've had a good round, but how are you going to deal with this? You know, being the question. How are you going to bully us? How are you going to force us to move when we've got, you know, this big shield stood in front of us? And we'll see whether Psycho can lead NIP to victory. Virtus.Pro still, of course, need 3 more rounds in a row. It's going to have to be 4 back-to-back if they want to even take this to overtime.
Bit of a hard ask, but never say never. Mentioned 2 halves to a game of Siege in the defending side of Kafe, far easier than the attacking one, especially with the Ying band away, which really forgives a lot of ills of the attackers just being able to candle an area out, charge inside, for example, smoke things out deep. Lots that you can work with. For now, up onto the roof, the NIP side go, figuring out what's going on, and as we've seen every single round so far, locking down red stairs with those tracks.
Basher's just going to be underneath his mining for the time being, just looking to cut off anybody trying to get in or around pillars, but also has Nitro in hand once again. We've seen how effective he can be, so looking for that verticality potential into Piano. They certainly don't want to lose the Monty to it, let's put it that way. The pings are coming out, so they're certainly going to be giving it a try if the opportunity presents. It's just a matter of time for Pasha, a matter of patience. He's got the Nitro pre-placed, he's just waiting for the call. All he's waiting is for the call.
If he gets... What's he just been shot by?
They cannot give the Monty away to a Nitro, and no, it's missed.
I mean, C4 comes out onto the window. That's a different C4. That one came out onto window, I think, and it did nearly catch Pino. Didn't finish him off. But Psycho's got to be so careful. He can't turn towards bathroom because of the player on white stairs. So now what do you do? It's a case of problem solving. They need someone to really pressure onto him. And that's why Wizard, as you can see on the side of your screen now, I think, is rotating over that side of the building.
Just looking for the long-range throw with the Selma charge there to, again, make it difficult for that player to stay inside of Washroom. Conch just battling that long-range angle onto Cocktail as well, but NIP just stalling out a little bit. That's an important kill, though. Muzi takes down Pasha on the vertical, takes away the threat of that Nitro if it hadn't been detonated at that point, but also just opens them up to really start pushing through Piano. Cons, he finds Dan. It's 5 versus 3. It's 5 versus 2. Joystick manages to get one back, but it's almost certainly over for Virtus.Pro here. Joystick has got an ace to find if he wants to close this out. He can't even get the first as he's taken down on white stairs. NIP looking much better than phase 1. Solid performance against Virtus.Pro to take themselves into the winners bracket tomorrow.
Very comfortable performance, I think, absolutely. Although we did see a little bit of a fight back coming out of VP, nowhere near enough to really get themselves in the conversation. I think a slow start for them, but we've seen that from a couple of teams today that have only just arrived and started playing. We've equally seen those that have just arrived today and really showed up. D+ being the great example at the start of the day. But for NIP, now you might start seeing them really warm into this game, into this tournament, sorry. Look very, very comfortable there again. Against GK, after we saw what they did to W7M earlier on today, maybe you look to write that one off, and this is the start of something great for the LATAM team.
Yeah, I said it at the beginning, I'll say it again. NIP in tournaments have a habit of hitting form at the right time. You know, if they can survive those earlier stages, they always seem to grow, they always seem to improve, they always seem to get better and better. And today doesn't give me any reason to think that that might not be the case.
Look at how it's the whole NIP squad rolling out.
It really is, isn't it? You've got everybody.
I mean, interestingly, they've got a psychologist out for this event with them, apparently, to really help keep them at that level throughout the whole competition. No doubt would have been helpful in those tough first couple of days. But like I say, maybe now you're going to see that really come into effect as they build through it and really start to build that belief that they can go deep into this competition.
Virtus.Pro, it's going to be back to the drawing board, of course. That was only their first matchup. They've plenty of chances left to go. They're going to want a better performance tomorrow, and arguably they will have one of the easier games. Of course, anybody who loses today will play tomorrow against somebody else who also lost today. So arguably you're maybe not going to be coming up against one of the top teams that we've seen today just yet. So it could just be a good opportunity for a few teams tomorrow to bounce back.
Well, let's head over to the desk. I'm sure they've got some thoughts on what was a bit of a surprise outcome for us all.
Thank you so much, Des and Ace. A return to form for NIP. So excited. I'm here with Pino. Pino, I can just feel the emotions in this room right now. Y'all were screaming, you were hugging. Can you describe those emotions you're feeling right now?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. We are a very passionate team. We've been playing like that in Brazil, and it helped us a lot. So in all matches, we're going to have this energy, and I think it drives us to victory.
For sure.
I love they just had all this energy, and now he's like calm, collected, focused.
He's a stone cold killer. So were you a little bit surprised that it did end up on Kafe?
What?
Were you surprised that the map ended up being Kafe?
No, we already expected. On the Copenhagen Major, we decided to play club with them. It was a bad choice. So since we knew we were gonna play them, we already prepared for Kafe. So everything went.
What was the thought process going into Kafe, knowing that you were playing it? You guys are a very dominant team on Kafe. Did you do any extra bit of prep that set that map up for more success, or did you pretty much play it to how it is typically played?
It's like we have a lot of variation of strats. Like if something goes wrong, we have always a backup plan. Yeah. So I think that's why.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. So you get this win. You obviously did it in a pretty good fashion. What's this like going forward? Now, what are you going to do going into your next opponent once you find out who that is?
I think it's the same. We have our mental preparation with Bernardo. He's with us. The old guy with us. He's our mental coach. So mental preparation, we analyze the veto, and that's it.
And sorry. I was gonna say one more question. So what is it like bringing on the two new guys outside of you, Muzi and Psycho? How is it getting those two new players into the roster?
Great question.
Yeah, at the start it was difficult. Like it's hard to change a lineup.
It is.
We have been playing with Cami and Julio for 4 years, I think. So
I remember playing against you guys.
Yeah, so now we are one year if this lineup, so we are pretty.
No, I mean you guys
pretty good
clearly,
right
yeah, no, you guys are playing extremely well, placing extremely well. It's just I think you guys just fix, two things and boom, solid team.
Yeah, I do want to ask you about Virtus.Pro rather. How do you think they're feeling right now? I mean, that was a pretty devastating defeat for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they have a good mental to come back. They played good, I think, so they will come back.
And talking about comebacks, I do want to pick your brain about groups a little bit. Play-ins, it was a struggle at times for you all. So how did you recalibrate? What did you do coming into this matchup?
Yeah, in play-ins, the people always say some teams are underdogs, but playing against them is really hard. Crest Gaming was I think the hardest match I have in my life. Never felt so pressure.
Oh, wow.
So they were really good, and there are surprises in playing. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to say if that's the hardest game that you've had, and you're a world champion. So you think, like, all the games that you've played, and, like, Pino's been around for a long time. So if that is the hardest game you've played to date, that's impressive.
Certainly. Pino, thank you so much for that fantastic interview, but I'm going to toss it over to Jesse, who has a little telestration for us. Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jackie. In the game of Rainbow Six, small problems often snowball into big ones. I think we saw a great example of that on round 5 here on Kafe. What I want to highlight for you right now is this one Electroclaw. It's down inside of Coat Check, and if we press play, we can see it's actually electrifying the 2 walls right above it that are keeping the vertical angle closed. And what we saw just now is we see utility being played by Virtus.Pro to open this up. We've got Joystick, who just threw an impact EMP, and we've got Shepard using his can opener on the wall. Now, important to note here, they don't do anything wrong on this. This is not a mistake, but it is using up a lot of their utility. That's half of their EMPs and half of their hard breach. That's called foreshadowing. We push forward a little bit longer, right? And there's one more Electroclaw that they're going to be a little bit concerned about, and that's this one on the freezer hatch. And if you'll just notice there, the last EMP was just used. And the reason why a lot of people don't like bringing impact EMPs is because, well, it missed. It didn't get the Electroclaw. The claw is still on that hatch. Unarguably, the most important part of the entire push just got denied by one Electroclaw. Now, there is a way out of this. It's not too easy, but Shepard's gonna attempt it. If you place the can opener right next to the hatch, pixel perfect, the range of the can opener can explode and still pop the hatch open. Shepard will try this and fail. Didn't work at all. Unfortunate for them, they have completely screwed this push-up at this point. And it's these little mistakes which have continued to be big problems. Take a look at the pushes that now need to come out from Virtus.Pro. They're first sending Joystick down the white stairs. They send Dan down the white stairs. They're going to send Shepard down the white stairs. The only extra bit of push that they have is Pasha coming in through the restaurant window, and it looks like spaghetti on white stairs. You don't want spaghetti on your white stairs. Let's press play, and also take a look at how good NIP are at these trades. What we see is every kill goes 1 for 1. Wizard gets a kill, does die right after, but that's okay. Everybody else then backs up. Then you get Pasha coming in the restaurant window. He goes down, immediately traded out by Pino. 1 for 1, the kills go, and then the players back up. It's the same story. We continue the clip, and we see Muzi taking a really cool position down at the very bottom of Freezer. He's really just trying to get this angle on the player he knows is downed, and he finishes off the kill his teammate got earlier. Then they split up a little bit. Again, they're still in this man disadvantage. Time is ticking down. They do get a great angle onto Muzi. They get a good crossfire, but again, it's 1 for 1. Shepard's dying to get this pick every single time. It feels like the trade happens from NIP. They back up. They eventually do that all the way until they win the round. It's those little mistakes, again, that came in from Virtus.Pro, combined with NIP having really good microplay, knowing when to back off, knowing when to trade their teammates, that made this game so difficult for Virtus.Pro. So that's our match here on the main stream, but we've got more games to come, so let's throw it to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have our second last game of the day.